I'll get it. Okay.
She spelled it.
Alicia, we're missing a mic.
She spelled it.
Oh. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Saddle Mountain Unified School District Governing Board meeting. May 13th at 6 p.m. in the Centennial Boardroom. Let's see, we're going to start with the roll call. All members minus Bernadette are present. And we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll please stand, and Austin, please come up. Right here, buddy. Okay. Is it?
Push the button. Is it green? No.
Oh, you can just use your big boy voice if you want. This is on. Yeah, ready?
Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance. Flag. To the flag.
States
of the United States. Under God. With liberty and justice for all. It's all right. Thank you, bud. All right. Okay, second item, adoption of the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Is there any discussion first?
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion passes. All right, moving on to superintendent comments. Dr. Winters.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Last Thursday, we held our EL celebration. Normally, we recognize those students during this board meeting, but we had so many students pass the Azella that we had to have a separate event. Last year, we had 43 students pass the Azella, which is the Arizona English Language Learner Assessment. 43 students passed. This year we had 143. And the auditorium, yeah, big round of applause for this. Auditorium was packed, kind of like this room, with students and families. It was a really, really great time. I had the honor of attending the Civil Air Patrol Military Ball on Saturday. It was a great event that honored our Civil Air Patrol students and their dedication and hard work. It has been exciting to see the Civil Air Patrol grow in number of students and an impact around campus and the community. And kudos to Ms. Medlin for the great work she's done with that program. While the instructional leadership team is on campus for our monthly meeting this morning, the medical assisting on campus at Tonopah Valley, I guess I should tell you where we were at. The medical assisting students were engaged in a work experience by practicing triage during a mass injury event, complete with yelling and screaming and fake wounds and things. It was amazing seeing our students tend to patients while keeping calm, organized, and detailed. I'd also like to congratulate our Westside Impact Teachers of the Year who were celebrated last Tuesday at GCU. I was honored to deliver the closing remarks at the event. Congratulations to Mr. Asuke at Tonopah Valley, Ms. Goulet at Ruth Fisher, Ms. Karen at Winters Well, Mr. Garcia at Tartesso, and Ms. Rum at Desert Sunset. And our Principal of the Year, Mrs. Dirksen from Desert Sunset, was also recognized, and congratulations to her. And that concludes my comment portion for this evening.
Okay. Moving on to recognition, Dr. Winters.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. We're going to start with our Students of the Month. If you are a Student of the Month, we're going to announce you, give you a little applause. I have a few sentences that your teachers wrote about you, and then we're going to meet back there and carve out a spot to take a picture, and we have a certificate for you. So starting at Tonopah Valley High School, Anthony Jones, 10th grader. Anthony consistently stands out for his exceptional enthusiasm and dedication to mastering mathematics. His genuine curiosity and drive to learn create a positive, motivating atmosphere that energizes the entire classroom. Anthony's willingness to actively participate in every activity not only strengthens his own understanding, but also encourages his peers to stay engaged and confident. Beyond his own achievements, Anthony is a thoughtful and supportive classmate who readily helps others grasp challenging concepts. Anthony exemplifies what it means to be Student of the Month through his academic commitment, leadership, and positive influence on those around him. Congratulations, Anthony.
Am I supposed to go back there?
Oh, it started.
Okay. Good. Oh, yeah, I went last month.
no, you're last. I wasn't here. Let's see, I thought you did.
No, Dan did. Dan did.
One more round of applause. Okay, next up we have Ruth Fisher, Student of the Month, Damian Hernandez Gavia, 6th grader. Damian consistently demonstrates what it means to be a dedicated and motivated student. He is a hard worker who gives his best effort every day, maintains awesome attendance, and has earned outstanding grades. In addition to his academic success, Damian is an active member of our competitive math team, where he continues to challenge himself and represent our school with excellence. Damian was an important part of the VEX robotics team, working hard this year as a team programmer and constantly honing his Python skills. His dedication has been integral in his team's success this season. Congratulations, Damian. Keep up the great work. We are proud of you. Next up we have from Desert Sunset, and please, hopefully if I get the name wrong, please help me pronounce it correctly. Catalea? Okay. Catalea Hernandez, 2nd grader. Catalea is a kind and thoughtful student who brings a positive energy to our classroom every day. She is truly a joy to have in class, consistently showing respect, responsibility, and a willingness to learn. When she encounters challenges or feels unsure, Catalea demonstrates maturity by asking for help and using feedback to grow. She is also a supportive classmate who is always willing to lend a helping hand to others, showing empathy and kindness in her interactions. She takes pride in her work and strives to do her very best each day, setting a wonderful example for her peers. Her positive attitude, strong work ethic, and caring nature make her a deserving choice for Desert Sunset's April Student of the Month. Next up from Tartesso, we have Jayla White, 5th grader. Jayla was selected as Student of the Month because she has demonstrated significant growth in both reading and writing. She consistently puts forth strong effort during instruction and has made noticeable progress in her academic skills. In addition to academic growth, Jayla maintains a positive attitude and is always wanting to help others. She is a kind and respectful student who contributes positively to the classroom environment. Jayla's determination and willingness to learn each day make her a wonderful role model for her classmates. Congratulations, Jayla. And then we have from Winters Well, Austin Collins, third grader. Austin has had a great month academically and behaviorally. He has been a kind and understanding friend and a responsible helper to his teacher. Austin has come a long way in developing the skills as a third grade citizen and a scholar at Winters Well, and has shown great cooperation with his teachers. He consistently demonstrates a positive attitude and works hard to do his best each day. Austin's growth, respectfulness, and willingness to help others make him a wonderful example for his classmates. We are proud to have him represent all Scorpions. Madam President, I have a few more student recognitions, if that's okay. Just bear with me a second. 3 of our student athletes from Tonopah Valley have signed with colleges to continue both their academic and athletic careers. Once I call you in, you could stand, and then we'll end up taking our group photo at the back there. First, we have Connor Hart. Wearing his jersey and his hat. My son just took his last final there last night and wrapped up his first year of college, so he's had a good experience. So Connor is signed to play baseball at Glendale Community College. Ellie Procunier. She's gonna be a little ways from home. She is going to be attending and playing softball at the New Hampshire Technical Institute. So that's, 4? Dad, you okay with that? That's a lot. And then thirdly, we have Corey Webb. Who is signed to attend and play football at Boise State University in Idaho. Come on back, Francis. I'll go this way.
Can everyone move to the left so we don't get the wall? I'm sorry. Thank you.
Connor and Ellie will have to keep us updated. We'll probably be able to see Corey on TV every week, actually, at Boise State. That's a big-time college football program. If I move on to the employees. Next up, we have our April Saddle Mountain Spotlights. First of all, we have our classified spotlight, and that is Molly Johnson, our secretary at Tonopah Valley High School. Molly's infectious personality lights up the room. She's patient, funny, and helpful in many ways. We love how encouraging she is to students and staff. She consistently goes above and beyond to ensure everyone who enters the office feels welcomed and supported. Molly handles her responsibilities with professionalism, efficiency, and a positive attitude, even during busy and stressful times. Her willingness to assist others and solve problems quickly makes her an invaluable member of the Tonopah Valley team. The care and dedication she shows each day have a lasting impact on both students and staff.
Wow.
I know, but I was like, oh, there's it. Look at you. And our certified Saddle Mountain Spotlight is Dr. Mike Levine, our school psychologist. Dr. Levine. And then, Madam President, members of the board, you might remember last month normally we would have recognized our third quarter volunteer of the month, but we postponed it to this month. So I'm going to invite Seth Gonzalez up to the podium. You might remember Seth was our Tonopah Valley. He was at a competition and couldn't be here, so he wanted to read the nomination for the third quarter volunteer of the month. Go ahead, Seth. What's that? Yes, yeah.
Good evening, governing board members, superintendent, staff, families, and guests. My name is Seth Gonzalez, and I am a student in the Law and Public Safety program at Tonopah Valley High School and a cadet with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. It is an honor to recognize 4 individuals from the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office who have made a tremendous impact on our students and our program. Deputy Rodriguez, our cadet advisor, Detention Deputy Mossman, Ms. Sophia Murda, and Ms. Lexi Henderson from Community Outreach have each dedicated countless hours mentoring, guiding, and supporting students both inside and outside the classroom. The commitment to youth excellence has provided us with opportunities that go far beyond what can be taught from a textbook. Because of their volunteerism and dedication, our Law and Public Safety program has experienced incredible success this year. Our students earned top placements at Skills USA competitions, expanded our cadet and work-based learning opportunities, participated in community events, and developed leadership, teamwork, and professional skills that will stay with us for the rest of our lives. One accomplishment we are especially proud of is that 100% of our Law and Public Safety students passed the Arizona Department of Education Technical Skills Assessment, a direct reflection of the mentorship, guidance, and dedication these individuals have invested in our program and students. More importantly, these mentors have shown us what service, professionalism, and leadership truly look like. They have invested in us, encouraged us, and helped prepare us for our futures. On behalf of the students of Tonopah Valley High School and the Law and Public Safety program, thank you for your continued support and commitment to mentoring the next generation. Please join me in recognizing Deputy Rodriguez, Detention Deputy Mossman, Ms. Sophia Murda, and Ms. Lexi Henderson as the recipients of the TVHS Law and Public Safety Commitment to Youth Excellence Award.
So one day after school, I was walking over to this, I don't remember why, that's not important. And somebody was with Seth and a couple of the other students, and they were practicing like car, and I actually thought they were talking to me at first, and it got me really scared, but I was, oh, I know what's going on now, so. But it did make me scared for a second. On behalf of the district, we'd also like to, now we only have one, so I don't know, you guys pick who, yeah. Who's opposite goes to. But we also want to reiterate, recognize you all as the volunteers of the quarter for Saddle Mountain Unified School District, and of course appreciate everything you're doing to help our students be successful. So one more big round of applause. Who wants to
We have students joining us as well,
do school picture style?
yeah.
Boys are gonna have to come in front for the.
Neil.
Neil.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can do it.
Yeah, if I need, I'll go down.
No, you don't do miracles, but make me look good. Okay, there we go, right?
Let me double check, Madam President, but I believe that concludes our recognition portion of the meeting. Yes. You want to give folks a couple? Oh, of course.
Do you want to say anything to the recipients?
Who?
I think they're already gone.
Oh.
No, thank you.
I'll say something. I just want to thank you to all the recipients of awards tonight. It's a pleasure as a board member, Starmer, to be up there, and thank you for your great job and service, and thank you. I just wanted to extend our congratulations to Connor, Ellie, and Corey on going to the next level, and just being a good example for the future generations, and showing them that through hard work that it's possible from Tonopah to go to the next level. But anyways, congratulations, and please keep us posted on what's going on in your future and with your athletics and academics. All right, that concludes the comments. Moving on to call to the public. Alicia, do we have any?
No, Mayor.
Okay. Consent agenda. Do we have any comments or discussion?
Oh, wait, public hearing.
Oh, sorry, I skipped one. Backing up. Public hearing, Dr. Winters?
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. It is May, so we are allowed to make a final budget revision for the school year. We have to do a public hearing, and then we'll have an action item on that budget revision once we get to the action items. And I'm going to turn it over to Ms. King to present the budget revision.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board.
Kat.
Oh, sorry.
There we go, is that a little bit better?
Yep.
All right, so as you know, when we are in school finance, we are always chasing a moving target. This is the M&O and capital budget revision for May. So the state of Arizona requires that we have a proposed budget by the end of June, beginning of July, an adopted budget by mid-July, and then sometimes they require a December revision, which is what happened this year. And then finally, at the end of the year, we have a wonderful wrap-up with a required May revision. That's what this is. So I was asked to provide a comparison. I provided a comparison between the original adopted budget for the year and then the end of the year. And you're going to notice that at the beginning of the year, the estimations made for the year, because again, we have to guesstimate that budget before the fiscal year starts based off of what we are projecting for ADM. That put us at about 31 million, just over, and we're ending the year about 800,000 above that, so that is absolutely wonderful. It was not looking that way mid-year when we had to make a $1.4 million cut. The unrestricted capital, that's also looking better. It started the year at 1.2, it ended the year at 2.1. Federal projects started the year at 2.8 million, ended the year at 2.4 million. As we all know, the federal government did some adjustments on what they were allowing for grant funding for public education, and so as you can see, it went down about 400,000. And then total, the aggregate school limit, so that is adding up just your maintenance and operations, unrestricted capital, and then the grants and such. So you can see overall, we're ending the year on a little bit more positive note at about 1.3 up on budget capacity. On budget. I'm not going to say budget capacity because in the meantime, as you all may have noticed, the economy did a bit of a climb. And so some of our costs have gone up rather significantly and unexpectedly as the year is coming towards a close. On this slide, you'll see the M&O expenditure increases. For regular education, that 20 million, a lot of what you're seeing there is just a matter of making sure that things are coded where they need to be. There really wasn't any significant increase. We did have some increase in this last half of the year in special education by about 906,000. Again, this is representative of budget. This is not representative of actual expenses. However, yes, the actual expenses did go up quite a bit in special education, but we're talking more like a few $100,000, not at the 900,000 in for actual expenditures. And what made that grow? Well, as we have student enrollment turnover, different students have different needs, and we have to meet those needs. Also, the students that are returning and that are staying and that are stable, their IEPs might also change throughout the year. And as they change, then we need to accommodate and provide either more therapy or less therapy. We might have to provide special transportation, special medical needs, things like that. And some of it can get a little bit expensive. And then we saw an increase on pupil transportation. Now that is much more representative of actual expenditures. There wasn't a lot of room there for me to put any additional budget. It's already over budget by over $1 million. And it's growing as we end the year because of the gas prices. Now on a positive side, so you've heard the negative, let's talk about the positive. We do have, this year, we were able to receive a one-time state aid supplement of $218,000, a one-time district additional assistance supplement of $81,000, free and reduced price lunch group B weight of $171,000, again, a one-time thing, and then the budget carry forward, that is what is ending us on a positive note. The budget carry forward, in February, on February 11th of 2026, ADE School Finance went ahead and published the Budge 75. The Budge 75 letter states that they had recalculated such that this district has a $2.26 million carry forward instead of a $1.4 million carry forward. That is not actual funds, so when you look at your personal finances and you say, gee, I started the month with this amount, I brought in this amount, I spent that amount, this is what we have at the leftover. No, that's not what we're talking about. M&O and capital are budget controlled. They are not controlled by what's actually there. So what we're seeing in a budget carry forward, and I'm just saying that as a cautionary note, because a budget carry forward is saying that ADE school finance budget team recalculated, had our ADM from FY25, has our ADM from FY26, has our transportation from 25, took our expenses from the AFR, and then did some funky math and came up with the fact that we get to carry forward 2.26 into this year that's ending. So on February 11th is when they notified us that, oh, by the way, we changed your carry forward about, yay, that's wonderful, but I never trust them because I know it's a moving target. And so I did wait. I did not ask to do yet an additional budget revision. I watched and waited to see if the other reports that ADE School Finance submits each month matched solidly what they had reported in February. And in April, the Budge 25, a different report that comes out monthly, agreed with this amount and nearly agreed with the BSA 55-1, which is the other report that I'm required to look at and make sure that everything looks pretty. So that's where that came from, and so then I even have email, because I told the budget team that I didn't quite trust them and I wanted it in writing, so they put in writing that I was allowed to use their numbers on the May revision, and they hoped I would so that we could capture as much budget capacity as possible for the end of the year. Another plus side is, since we had everything figured out, we had all the, I don't know if you all remember, but back in July, I think I had mentioned that there'd been a lot of coding changes in the USFR. We were finally able to clean up all the coding changes from FY25 that were required and into FY26, and what does that mean? The expenses showed in the right spot, and yes, indeedy, we did get to increase our teacher's salary this year by 4%, which is what we matched what we thought we'd done. That also is a big plus. I love it when things match. Okay, so capital outlay. What you're seeing here are just taking the budget and the budget capacity that some of it has been spent, a lot of it has not, and that's in technology. An increase of $430,000 for software. As you recall, over this past year, I've mentioned technology. The software is actually supposed to be paid out of UCO. It's not supposed to be paid out of M&O. It can be paid out of grants, but it cannot be paid out of M&O. This district has in the past paid it out of M&O, and so that's where it's typically been budgeted. We moved it this year and the full budget into UCO, and I did go ahead and add a little bit of budget capacity to technology because I'm a little bit concerned about how much the technology costs at the end of the year. It can get pretty expensive when we purchase all the renewals. For transportation, I adjusted it a little bit just to help meet the operational demands. If somebody needs a new system replacement in their bus, hopefully we have enough to cover that. And then in facilities, everything has gone up, but I went ahead and added a little bit extra in instructional aids. I did this because we're doing the restructure, and so Tartesso, yes, it was built to be a K through 8, but then it housed a K through 5. Now, this summer, we're making a real quick, swift change to 5 through 8, and we discovered as we did that, oh, we might need a couple things over there, right? And most of it comes under instructional aids or like music equipment, band equipment, right, so that we can keep the students going there. And so the money was moved there to help support that. There's a special education detail. It just walks you through where the money is. The beginning of the year, there was $760,000 in vocational education. We don't actually have a vocational education as ADE defines it, so I moved it into the main disability classification. We do have CTE and we do have ELL, so those amounts are in there to cover our costs there. Again, the key drivers of this revision, most of it is the February 11th letter, changing the budget balance, but I also wanted to make sure we had our one-time add-ons all in there. the UCO aligned with the Budge 25, the most recent Budge 25, as well as with the February budget, Budge 75. So that came up just a little bit. I think it was at 1.9, it went up to 2.1. And then just the general equalization with ADM counts from FY25 being balanced out. And then most of ADM has stayed relatively stable here in the last half of the year. We haven't had any big dips, and we haven't had any big climbs. For classroom site fund, increased slightly, not much at all. That again was just an FY25 ADM recalculation of the state. And I just put it into instruction, support services, and instructional staff support, which is where classroom site fund is expected to work. So that is the end of the budget comparison and the public hearing, unless there are any questions, because this is meant, hi, Mr. Mueller, how are you?
Doing great, Pat. How are you?
I'm so pleased to see you. And I apologize, I just ruined, thank you, but I just ruined the public hearing. Anyway, if you have any questions, please let me know. Yes?
Let me get to the right page here. So when we did, vocational education, I understand, but all of these changes where we've increased or when we've increased different things, those funds are coming out of the, the extra money or the overflow that we've gotten to support or fund those.
Can you tell me which page you're on?
Yes, in a minute. It's the one where it shows, supplement.
That's on there.
Oh, right here. That's the one where maintenance and operations, it was adopted was 1229, and then on 20 revised was 2137. And so it was an increase of $908,047. So I'm just wondering where that increase goes. So does it fund the things that we've increased? Does it fund the teacher salaries? I mean, what does it fund? And there's another one that has a plus of $846,000.
We're on the primary budget limit comparison?
Yes.
Okay. So this does not represent expenditures. This only represents the the ADE school finance budget team's formula, their results of their formula for maintenance and operations between that which we guesstimated in July and where we are ending here in May based off their numbers.
So this is the actual?
Not expenditures, but budget, yes.
Okay. I think I'm okay. Let me look and see. So that would be part of the revised average salary. Is that coming from some of those accounts, or where is that coming from?
This 53?
Right.
Right. So that is from, okay, I'm going to take you back just a little bit. Do you remember a little bit earlier in the year? I'm going to try and be fast. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to hold anybody up, but I want to be able to tie this together so it makes more sense. Okay, first of all, USFR has their chart of accounts. They had payroll coding. To keep it nice and simple, they had all teachers, whether you were doing additional work, if you had additional certifications, or just your regular work, they had you coded all of it to 6112, generally. It was actually a 6110 through 6115 schools got to choose. Most districts chose 6112. I don't know why they did. I wasn't around when they did it. Anyway, but the federal government, through the whole ESSER and COVID process, said, hey, wait a minute, I think that in some states, some teachers are actually doing more than just their base work. So we want to capture that number. So then the federal government put pressure on the states to start to report that number. And Arizona said, oops, we don't have a code for that. So in 24, fiscal year 24, they told all school districts that by fiscal year 25, they were required to change all payroll coding for teachers to break it out. When I started in July of FY '26, that breakout hadn't happened. It wasn't a surprise to me. Kirk and I had talked and he said, hey, I know they made that change, I just didn't have time to make the change. I said, okay, but then that meant that that had to be done, right? I couldn't get it done fast enough for the December revision, but we've now gone through it. I've gone through it twice. I've had county go and check my numbers, and then I've had our payroll specialist. I showed her how to double check, she double checked. So now we know that everybody's been caught and they've all been put where they needed to be. So then when I pulled the numbers for the May revision, I was actually able to work off of the actual, does that make sense? The actual coded numbers that I was supposed to use in order to determine salary growth for teachers.
And just for the record, I'm not adverse to giving teachers raises, but I just like to know where the money comes from.
Well, we need to know, and the reason I took such a long way to tell you is because I know Dr. Winters and I have stressed about this a little bit, is this didn't just happen to our district, it happened to all districts, and yet the Auditor General of the state of Arizona, hopefully they're out listening, when I asked them back in January when they set out their big analysis on how all schools are spending their money and how they're spending it on teachers, I asked them, did you clean the data? Because they had us change all the codes in 25, but they took data back from 2021 or something. And their response was, no, it was up to the districts. So apparently it was up to us to use our crystal balls to go back and change all the data from back in 20 or 21, whatever it was that they went back to. Not that I'm at all upset with the whole situation, but I do like to know that when we're looking at data that we actually know where it came from. So.
Thank you.
And I'll add too, is that it would make sense that since we had a 4% raise last year, that we would see an increase in our average teacher salary. And then kind of what Ms. King's alluding to is also that they keep changing what's included in teacher salary and not. So next year, this number could shoot way up or could go way down. Everybody's gonna go, hey, why did your teacher salary go down? Well, because then it'll make a nice new headline that says, hey, the state's average teacher salary went down, you're doing something bad. But what they won't tell you is that you said we had to take all this stuff that's included in teacher salary in the previous year out when we recalculate. So it's kind of a roller coaster as to what's actually included in that calculation.
So they do get a 4% increase?
They already,
did.
they
Oh, they
did.
All right, oh, so that was when we, back, okay,
Did that last year.
okay.
But that's what was upsetting me in December was I couldn't prove it. I
Right.
couldn't find it and prove it, and that's what I wanted to be able to do.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
My questions, I guess, are on the summary of the revised budget. The negatives, so the decrease in like 3,000, 610, 620.
Are you in the actual budget form?
Yes. Just the why, like what,
What page?
page 2 of 3. It's the first document on their 2026 hearing notification and summary.
Can I come look over your shoulder? Oh, you're trying to find it, okay.
Which line is Emerald, so I can.
Well, the negatives, like the decision to take from each of those funds, and then also too, because you just said, the new money, or the money that, is any of that money going into reserves?
So,
Is that planned carry forward, is that going into reserves, or?
okay, so if you have the full budget, the big, long, awkward one. So the summary page is back near the back, and you're gonna see the totals for prior year and then current year budget. The negatives have to do with identifying that the portions of the budget identified under that program and function is either higher or lower than it was the year before, but it is not indicative of the actual expenses. It's where have we placed that budget capacity? And at this time, the budget capacity, for instance, Program 100, regular education, that top line, instruction, which is function 1,000. We've got prior year salaries at 10 million, and then current year budget at 9.6 million. And so it's showing at the far side that that went down minus 3.3%. What that's referencing to is, I'm sure you've all heard it because I know I've heard it. Oh, school districts just move their money around. We do, on our budgets, we have to move the money around in order to cover areas where expenses are growing fast. And in this year, for instance, transportation has grown rather fast. I'm really not picking on transportation. I know we have serious, we have 550 square miles. I'm not ignorant of that. But I'm also not ignorant of the fact that with the war and economy, that we are now doubling what we spent last year on transportation. Last year, at the end of last year, for diesel fuel, we had spent $170,000. We budgeted for this year at $195,000, thinking that would be plenty. When I look today, we have year-to-date spent $222,000, and we need another, we're estimating another $80,000 to make it through the end of the year. So when you hear, oh my goodness, school districts just move the money around, well, what do you do in your budget? My budget, I live in Peoria, for goodness sake. Guess what happened when the gas prices rose? I drive a hybrid and I still doubled it. Guess who's not ordering DoorDash every night? You'd think I'd start to lose weight. So you have to move the money around a little bit, and I'm just trying to make fun. I'm not trying to, I'm just trying to lighten the load. But the fact of the matter is that that's what you're seeing when you see that percentage change over there, is what you're noticing is that budget capacity from prior year has been moved during the current year for whatever reason. And if you'd ever like to just, if you want to dig into it deeper, I'm happy to do so. We can't do it here tonight, but I can certainly meet with you and we can look at what actual expenditures are to make sure that we're covering the actual expenditures with the budget capacity.
Okay.
Let's go, you done? Go back to your presentation on page 5. You had state aid supplement of $218,000. How was that brought in? I mean, does that change the base student rate, or?
Oh, that state aid supplement?
Yeah.
Do you see where it notes, so I can tell you honestly, I don't know. What I can tell you is that normally these one-timers are because there was money left over in some proposition from years prior. The proposition is now expired, but there's money left in that fund that was collected from taxes, and they need to decide how to get rid of it, how to spend it, sorry. And so part of what the legislature fights about every year with the budget is with some of those props that have now expired, and now they have money that they have to figure out how to equally and fairly distribute. That's part of it. And this is one of those props. I just can't tell you which one. I don't remember.
Okay. No, I was asked how it comes into M&O. I mean, how did we increase that?
Yeah, they place it in our M&O and they notify us in one of those Budge 25 reports that I get each month.
And so it's just an entry that says state aid additional.
Yeah, but
State aid is what's bothering me.
But keep in mind, because it's really fun, current year budgeting. In October, I didn't claim $148,000 dip negative on our side. But I did include these guys. In that budget 25, these guys weren't included, and the state went ahead and charged us an additional $148,000.
Okay.
So month to month, I never quite know where we're gonna land. It's very exciting.
Okay, thank you.
All good? Any questions from the public? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, moving on to consent agenda.
I'd like to pull item 13.
I'll second. If that was a motion to approve and remove item, I'll second that motion.
Okay. You got that, Alicia? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Moving on to reports. Budget report, Dr. Winters.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I'll turn it over to Ms. King for a budget report, slightly different than what we just did.
Great.
Thank you. So as you can see, this budget report is still based off of the December revised, because I wanted to make sure you all approved today's budget before I made any changes. So if we were still working at the 29.9 instead of the 31.1, is it? Anyway, we would be within 1% of the end of our M&O funding for the year. And then unrestricted capital at 1.9, it's now 2.1 or 2.2. Anyway, that was 24%. Then we've got adjacent ways is still sitting pretty. Bond building, we've got about 643 sitting in that fund, but only for bond approved expenditures. Then we have the debt service, which is how the bond gets paid back, and we're waiting, that only pays out twice a year, once in January, once in July. So we're waiting for that July payment. And then for federal grants, state grants, classroom site fund, and other funds, we're looking pretty good. We've had a couple negatives in there throughout the year, but we've been able to balance it all out as we wrap up this year. Are there any questions?
Any questions?
Guesstimate on M&O carry forward then?
I'm sorry?
Guesstimate on M&O carry forward for next year then?
So
Right now you have about 1%, right? That's what we're hoping for.
So we're talking about two different things. I think you and I are probably talking about the same thing right now, that 1%. I'm looking at us being closer to about 3% on budget balance carry forward.
Okay.
That is not fund balance. That's the only difference I wanted to make.
Budget balance, yeah.
I'll interject just a second too, that even though there's about a month and a half left in the fiscal year, there's a lot of unknown increase in costs that are continuing to happen. So while we probably feel pretty good about that, but if gas shoots up another $2 or $3 a gallon, that could really impact things. So just, it's definitely a guesstimate at this point.
I'd like to ask what funds are being redistributed to cover the fuel expenses, the increase?
So a lot of it you'll see in this budget, in the back, in that summary page where you notice that there's some negatives on the percent. A lot of that is where I have looked at what our current expenses are with encumbrances, and then looked at where our budget was to see if there was budget capacity. So all staying in M&O, but moving from program and function to an object code in order to cover specifically diesel fuel and leaded, although I think we're doing okay on leaded. It's just the diesel fuel that we're having to keep putting more money into. But the money is all from M&O, it's just I'm taking it out of what's called that budget capacity in order to fund it.
Any other questions, comments? Is that all, Dan? Okay, moving on to strategic plan, SMI, Dr. Winters.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Our strategic plan update for May is going to be Saddle Mountain induction. I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Thompson and Mrs. Dobesh to present our Saddle Mountain induction program. And this is directly related to stakeholder priority 2 and strategy 2.
Madam President, members of the board, thank you for this opportunity. We just wanted to share a little bit of what's been happening with our induction program. Most of the time when we think about our induction program, we think about what happens before the school year starts. So we do have a week-long opportunity, I guess you might say, for any teachers that are new to the district, and here's some data regarding the last 3 years. This last year we had 49 people participate in our Saddle Mountain induction, which is, like I mentioned, the 5 days before the school year starts. The year prior we had 51, and the year before that we had 68 participate. You can also see, based on the data, that we have several, a very high percentage of our teachers.
Microphone? Is it on? Is it? Oh, okay.
Keep going.
Okay, so we have a very high percentage of our teachers that are not traditionally certified or who have less than 4 years of experience, which is why it's so important that we provide these opportunities for our teachers. Just as a side note, we're looking at about 40 participating in our Saddle Mountain induction this year. So this is, I'm sure you've seen this before, this is a copy of our agenda from last year. We are in the process right now of coming up with a very engaging experience for our new teachers for this year. We worked on it a little bit today. Again, when we have our pre-service.
Hang on, Patty.
Okay.
We lost all of our screens, Joel, but it's still up there.
Sorry, give it, they should flash right back up.
There we go.
Sorry. Yep.
No problem. All right, are we good?
Yes.
Okay. So the basic of our pre-service Saddle Mountain induction will be very similar to this. We have taken a little bit of what feedback that we've gotten from our prior participants and from what principals and administrative leaders at the sites are seeing to continue to advance and make sure that we're giving our pre-service teachers what they need so that they can be successful in our district. Along with the pre-service, there are also supports that instructional coaches and other leaders provide throughout the school year. So we wanted to talk a little bit about that. It's not just a 5 days and you're done and you're on your own. Rather, these programs, one we call Summit to Success, which is a very intense mentoring program where our instructional coach will kind of be one-on-one with that teacher. They'll help them lesson plan, they'll help them teach, they'll model for the teacher, pretty much like a boot camp almost as they start starting to process through the school year. Instructional coaching cycles is where the instructional coach and the teacher together come up with a goal that the teacher wants to achieve, and then the instructional coach provides supports for the teacher. These happen in maybe 6 or 8 week cycles. They're all based on data to support the students so they can measure student growth. Team supports such as maybe a team planning meeting where the instructional coach might go in and sit with the entire team and plan as they go along. In professional development, the instructional coaches and other leaders on the campus will provide professional development, including follow-up support for that professional development to make sure that they're implementing. And then there's individualized supports of anything that a teacher might need. We try to approach this not as a one-size-fits-all, rather as what that specific teacher needs to make sure they have the supports they need. Many of these happen in the after-school meetings as well. So this is just a little bit more about the different programs that we mentioned. I'll just have Alicia go through those slowly. Thank you. And all of those are open not just to our first year teachers. The induction program, while we think of it as the first year that they're with the district, That's when it starts, but we continue that throughout. We really focus on our first years, and then we make sure that our second years have the supports that they need, and then after that, it's kind of an as needed. Some teachers might need continued support. Some teachers might choose continued support, because this is an awesome advantage to have an instructional coach be right there with you. And then other teachers might feel pretty confident at that point. So I'll let Ms. Dobish talk about some of the successes that we've had.
All right. Excuse me. Okay, so some of our successes, this is just a little taste of our success. We really focus on collaboration and understanding the standards, and then, excuse me, sorry, understanding the standards and then doing data analysis based off those standards that we have planned for and implemented our instruction for. The individual and grade level goals, through this data analysis, we are able to create goals with teams of teachers and individual teachers to have them take more ownership of their instruction. I might be calling in sick tomorrow, just so you know. The collaboration really provides an opportunity for us to support district initiatives such as engagement strategies, segmented instruction, and things of that nature. It forms strong relationships, and those relationships really support the investment that we have in our students and our staff across the district. It's not just a relationship with a person, it's a relationship as a unified district, and we really feel strongly and are proud of those relationships that we have created. The relationships help us grow individually. It doesn't matter if, like Ms. Thompson said, it doesn't matter if you're a brand new teacher, a first year here, or if you've been with the district or in education for 20 or more years. We really focus on the growth mindset. Everyone learns every day, and those relationships that we've built through the collaboration have really set the tone for our continued growth as a district. Again, like Ms. Thompson said, we look at our SMI results from surveys and feedback and make changes along the way, just like a teacher in a classroom would make changes based off the data that they see with their students. We have a lot of risk-taking going on because of the support that the instructional coaches are able to provide, and we can't have growth if we don't have risk-taking opportunities. I think a wise man once said, if you're comfortable, you're not growing, and
Close enough.
something like that. So that growth mindset is something that we definitely promote through our professional development and our conversations within small groups and one-on-one conversations. One of the most proud successes that I can say we've had this year was the NIET and ADE continued support. So we were lucky enough, fortunate to have grants to support our math instruction, and that entailed coming together on Mondays and meeting and having training, and then support in the classrooms, delivering instruction and implementing the approaches that we learned about. And through these grants, NIET, I believe it stands for National Institute for Exceptional Teaching, if I'm not mistaken. And that the people that we were working with through that grant took data from our schools to Tom Horn and his cabinet to show the growth that we had made with the grant and their support. So that's definitely one of the one of my most proud moments to share about successes. I think we can probably move on, yes. All right, these are just some examples of some of the work that has resulted in our efforts for instructional coaching. On the left side there, you can see 80% mastered that particular standard, 20% did not, and on the right side, 95% mastered that standard, and only 4.7% did not. So again, Ms. Thompson was talking about the coaching cycles. This is these are one of those examples where you take the student data, or you dive into the standards, you plan for it, take the data, reteach, retest, and you see all this green. So super proud of those teachers and those students right there. Another thing that we do, we have Right Tools as a structure across the district starting in kindergarten, and this has been in the district for quite a few years. I'm gonna guess maybe 9-ish. Every teacher is a writing teacher, and every teacher uses the Right Tools structure to support writing composition. And this is a professional development. When you see those yellow pieces there, it was a hands-on engaging professional development provided from the instructional coaches to all teachers to really get them diving deep into what the structure of Right Tools looked like. And then you can see manipulative use on the bottom right-hand corner while the teachers were analyzing math data and planning for reteaching using those manipulatives. And then we can go on to the next one. And these are just some more examples of students actually implementing some of the work that the instructional coaches worked with the teachers on. So student examples there. And then this slide just shares some testimony. Oh, thank you. So that one on the top right, I want to bring some attention to that one. I'm beyond grateful for the support of my instructional coach who has been there since day one of my teaching journey. She is always prepared to answer questions, help find solutions, and offer encouragement whenever it is needed. Her dedication and guidance have truly helped me grow both professionally and personally as a teacher. Destiny Keel is a first grade teacher at Desert Sunset. And back in the day when we had just 2 instructional coaches for the district, I was on that campus, and it was the first day of the school year, probably like 8:30 in the morning, and Destiny came from the playground, just taking her kids to the playground for recess. She said, "Kelly, I gotta find Tammy. I don't know if she expects me to do this the whole year or what. I can't do this." And I said, let me help you. And so that Summit to Success structure that Ms. Thompson was talking about, that's really what that is. She's been in our district now for 4 years. She's going through the NAU program that we partnership with, and she will be certified soon. And she went from wanting to run away at 8:30 in the morning on day one to being the grade level leader on her first grade team. And that's what we do here as instructional coaches, is we support them so they want to stay and they grow and they become amazing educators for our kids.
Are there any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Do we provide this to our long-term subs?
Our long-term subs, okay, so we have provided this to our long-term subs in the past. If it's somebody who starts the school year and we know that they're going to be there, or we know that they're going to become shortly after the school year, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
If it's a situation where it happens in the middle of the year and it's not planned, then they probably won't have the support. However, they still have the on-site support of the instructional coach.
Okay, thank
Very
you.
much so. Any additional questions?
No.
Okay. Thank you for your
Good
time.
presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 3, full-day kindergarten, Dr. Winters.
I think I'm recovering, she's just getting the same thing. We had a request to discuss full-day kindergarten at the board meeting, so we put that on there as a discussion item, and happy to discuss full-day kindergarten.
Do you want to start?
So my concern, it's not that I don't want full-day kindergarten, but when we proposed the bond and the override, last year? This year, I can't remember, last year. One of the things we said is that we'd have to go to half-a-day kindergarten if these things didn't pass. So for me, it's not that we don't want to do it, it's just that if we are going out there and saying, this is what we're going to do, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then we don't follow through, it's kind of like, well, they're just trying to scare us, they're not going to really do this. I think, sometimes you have to back up what you're saying if you want people to see that you're going to follow through, and if there's a reason to vote for this override and this bond, because we did exactly what we said we were going to do. I mean, that's just my thought on it.
The point is, the override doesn't go away overnight. It goes away over 3 years. And the first year, we've tightened our budget somewhat, that we've been able to keep full-day we will be able to keep full-day kindergarten for another year. But then a third more is going to go away. And that's when we're saying, if it doesn't pass this year, then it's going to go away.
If I may. But doing so because we had lost 69, 70 kids that took from our reserves. So now we've cleaned out our reserves and we're taking from all the other programs to keep full-day kindergarten, and we aren't putting anything in our reserves. So I think we need to look at that as well, because we don't have anything for any hiccups, like we don't have any savings.
I didn't quite hear you.
I'll jump in. Timelining this, we've had meetings and study sessions about the plan for next year. We have communicated the plan with the community. We've given teachers contracts. If the board gave direction to change the plan for next year, we could do that, but that would, for next year, there would be some pretty severe consequences, I think, perceptually from staff and from community. Another thing to consider is if we add full day, if we go to half day, you're basically doubling the transportation required for kindergarten. And that's gonna, so instead of having one route a day, you're gonna have running two and from, you're gonna do that 4 times in a day for kindergarten, and that's gonna increase cost. So some of the savings we anticipate from staff will be offset by the increased cost in transportation. And as Mr. Royer said, it's a 3-year step down. The priorities that we prioritize for next year in response to the override failing to make up the loss in funding is we increased class size, we cut some electives, and we completely reconfigured the school district, which when you did staffing also contributed to needing less staff. So we've done part of what it was, just not the whole thing. And we also considered that if we went to half-day kindergarten, if I've got a kindergartner and I can go to another school district around here and get free full-day kindergarten, I'm probably going to take my 4th grader, my 8th grader, my 9th grader with me, and it's only going to exacerbate our losses, which would only exacerbate our budget troubles. So ultimately, we decided to land where we did. One of the things we're prioritizing, presuming the board calls for an override election here shortly, is that if it doesn't pass, full-day kindergarten for the fiscal year 28 would be the first thing off the list. And that'll just be what it had, we won't, there will be no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
So my understanding is we're losing 800,000 a year, right?
Rough ballpark.
Okay, and who decided that we weren't gonna offer a full-day kindergarten? Because I don't remember having this, I don't remember having this discussion.
We did, and then we brought it to the board at a study session and presented, I can't remember what month it was, January, maybe February?
And I did hear that discussion, and I voiced my opinion, but just because we heard that discussion, do we have to vote on a change, or is it just you guys decide and present it to us?
It's a budgetary discussion, so
Okay.
that's how we've implemented the budget and cuts for next year.
So we're seeing that now, or we have seen it?
We will see it for next year. That budget cut will take place next year.
Okay, so we're talking about half a day of kindergarten next year. I don't understand, am I missing something? The following year?
Next school year, the 26-27 school year, we would have full-day kindergarten. If the presumed that we're gonna, I presume what we'll call momentarily, fails in November of 2026, the initial cut for the 27-28 school year will be full-day kindergarten.
Right.
There won't be any really, the only discussion to save it would be that we'd have to cut drastically somewhere else. And that's not necessarily what the override pays for either.
So do we have to vote on that as whether you go to full day or half a day?
I think one of two things. Not really, it's a budget decision. If the board wanted to make more of a declaration of, we are going to be a full-day kindergarten school district no matter what, make it work, that might be a vote. I don't know that the district has ever done that in its history, or if the board wanted to declare, we are going to be a half-day, that would take it out of our hands in terms of a budgetary discussion. But that's kind of where it lies right now.
I know you said that you had looked at options of the full-day kindergarten because the state it funds half-day, but that you would look at options of if you
Yeah.
had to charge for the second half.
Yeah, and that was another consideration we had is, I had a group of kindergarten teachers together, and we were talking about the pros and cons of various structures of paid full-day kindergarten, what that would look like. And ultimately, it felt like we were trying to do that fast as opposed to doing it right. So we've also bought ourselves a year, probably more like 6 to 8 months, to, if we're going to decide to do some paid full-day kindergarten, we now have the time to really create a system that makes sense instead of just trying to throw something together really quickly and ends up being not successful. So we've already started looking at some other options, and that also plays some challenges. But those are just things we'll have to negotiate over the course of the next few months, if that unfortunately becomes a reality. But that is an option we could do as well. But you could have 25 people commit to paying for full-day kindergarten, so you might have one full-day teacher at a school, and then the other teacher might have 2 sections of half-day. So there could be different scenarios depending on how many people sign up to pay for full-day kindergarten.
But that would still hurt us.
That would still hurt us with transportation, right?
Yes. You're essentially adding another route into the system.
So, and we've probably provided this already, but what dollar amount is in our reserves now?
Well, the previous report you saw was 1%. But with the budget revision with that, luckily that the ADE provided those extra carry forward dollars, we're looking at, we think, as we were saying cautiously, 3%. Our target that the board has discussed over the last several months has been 4%. And all things considered with I'm actually very pleasantly surprised and thankful for the 3% because it was not looking that good 4 or 5 months ago.
No, that was my expectation, was that after all the numbers came through, we'd be down to zero. You know, because like the diesel price is a perfect example, totally out of our control. But yeah, you gotta pay for it somehow.
And as Ms. King alluded to earlier, that's the real challenge in Arizona of the current year funding that we have to endure in public education. And that's not a uniquely Saddle Mountain issue either. That's something that's happening throughout the state with the decline in enrollment.
Any other comments, questions, discussion? Okay. Moving on to,
Sorry.
I think, so is this put to bed? We're gonna have full day kindergarten next year. Okay.
Governing board retreat, Dr. Winters.
Thank you, Madam President. Another discussion item. So I think a couple things. We did a retreat last year. It was a mix of led by a third party and myself, and I think Ms. Thompson, and so in-house staff. So I think we have two questions to just consider. One, does the board want to have a retreat this summer? And two, if we do, what do we want to include in the retreat so that we know how to properly prepare for it if we decide we want to have one?
Well, I believe I sent a list to Amy of things we might like to discuss. What I'd like to see if it be a more board retreat, and not that I don't want to see staff, but there's issues I think that we need to discuss as a board and not necessarily have somebody come in and explain our curriculum, because we do that all the time throughout the year, so no offense.
That was your request though, Ms. Marissa, just for the record.
Oh, I know, but they didn't work very well last year. So, I mean, not with the teachers, but the other thing too is I did reach out there, not committing anything, in fact, you or Amy had to call them, but I just wanted to see if they had any available dates. And they do have some in June and they have some in July.
They being ASBA?
Yeah, ASBA, yes.
Yeah, and I watched their webinar that they had, our last board meeting, while we were in our board meeting, they had a webinar on school retreats, so I was able to watch the recording. It didn't really add much to this conversation, but the one point that I thought was valuable was they really stressed the idea that you have an outside party. And from my perspective, if Mrs. Amaral or I are leading it and there's some sort of sticky situation, it puts us in an awkward position where I would rather not be put in that, I'm sure you wouldn't either. So if we do one, I do think there's some value in having a trained facilitator come in. So.
are those our only options though, is ASB, or was it ASA and?
ASA, ASBA,
Those are our only two options.
that I'm aware of. There might be others, but those are the two kind of bigger options.
Well, if we were to bring somebody in, I'd like to try the opposite one, because last year I thought that was kind of dry.
I agree.
What did you say, Amy? I didn't hear you.
I thought last year's retreat with ASA was kind of dry.
Yeah.
I didn't really enjoy it.
So I think I saw heading out, we're consensus, if we do one, it's a third party. Ms. Marcet, I have the ideas you sent to Mrs. Amaral. Is it okay if I want to share that with the board? Effective communication practice for governance teams. And I get your point. She's talking more about the board, not necessarily the things we can do. Review of the board handbook, clear communication expectations, and the discussion of new board members were the 4 items she had. I would assume ASBA probably has a package that they provide, but also I keep seeing customizable, so.
I think what they have is, 8, 9 topics, and you pick out 5 of them or 4.
It would be nice to add, because I know on our board survey that we talk about engagement with our stakeholders and our community and just the district overall. And I think recently there's been a lot of missed opportunities to engage the community and also to celebrate like student success. So I would like for us to brainstorm on how we can do better as a district.
And I'm just going to say, as a new board member, last year, beginning of this year, whatever, I can't even remember. I know it was helpful to send me the email with a list and all the things, but it would have been more helpful if somebody had gone through that with me. Or if we had, I don't think we have anything in writing, a procedure of how we induct or bring in new board members, as far as I know. I just got something.
Mr. Blackson and I met with you, Ms. Morissette, in the conference room. Mr. Wobble was there. We had each person responsible for things coming in. We spent 2 or 3 hours, and we have that induction process in writing.
I just remember getting the handout and looking up the different things.
We met here in the boardroom, went through everything.
Well, I am getting older.
I remember.
Okay, good, you're younger.
Well, yeah.
Is there anything, Dan or Paul, that you want to add to the board retreat?
No,
Okay.
I can always learn something.
Moving on to,
Sorry, Mr. Hamlet, do we want to give a general time, dates, or something we want to try to coordinate outside of the meeting? I'm good either way.
I think,
if it's okay, I know Dan and I both have vacations and needing to move the meeting, so
And
if we could shoot for
mine's
July.
going to be the first week of July, but other than that, I'll be available.
July would work better for me.
You can't do it the first week of July?
I'll be on vacation the first
Okay.
week of July.
I'll be on a cruise July 16th.
Oh,
So that might be Alicia and I will sit down and try to
Yeah.
figure something out.
send out-
And it doesn't necessarily have to be, it doesn't have to be before school starts, it just would be, honestly, it's more convenient for me, because once school starts, my schedule gets, but if worst comes to worst and we gotta do it during the school year, we can do that as well. But we'll shoot, I would prefer to do it in June or July.
Yeah.
But, if
Well, there's a
not,
window in there.
how about everybody sends an email with the dates that they're not available for June and July to Alicia?
That would be
And
helpful.
then she can then give us some dates when, and the dates that you received from ASBA, that they're available.
And what?
The dates that ASBA said they had availability,
Right.
if you can send those too.
Well, actually, I'm going to that, the 1st of June. Rural Alliance is doing a presentation at the, whatever that conference is.
Ursa conference? I think?
Yes. And so I think I'm actually doing the presentation, and so I'll be gone that weekend, but weekend, it doesn't really matter.
Okay. Yeah, so everybody send the dates for June and July that you're not in town and unavailable, and then the dates that ASBA said they had availability to do the retreat. Okay, moving on to action items. Number 1, election resolution. Dr. Winters?
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Lots of documents there that we would potentially need to sign, which I have to my left. Before we get going, Brian Lundberg is here. He's from Stifel. He's our investment banker, so if we have any questions regarding bond override that I cannot answer, I might turn to Brian. Also, he's not here, but I do have him available via cell phone. Jim Giel, did I say that, Brent Giel, is it? Yeah. He was our elections attorney from Gus Roosevelt, is available if we need any legal guidance. But there's like 4 other meetings happening around the valley doing the exact same thing because the deadline is June 8th. So this is a pretty common discussion at board meetings across the valley. So he's trying to be in like 4 or 5 places at once. So maybe a little bit delay in getting in contact with him if we need it. But there's some other resources we have available. Let's see here. Alicia, could you bring up the document that says election recommendation 51326? Okay, so this is a little bit of a review from last month and then some new information. It's like deja vu because we did like basically follow the exact same kind of process last year. let me see when we get there. Okay, go ahead, Alicia, next. Oh, thank you, Ms. Amaral. Yep, you're right. Yeah, that's a typo on my behalf. That should say Tartesso. Thank you. So a review of projecting a 2028 middle school and elementary school in Tartesso and Tonopah. Because the bond failed last November, even though we project to need it in 2028, assuming it passes in November, we're not going to have those projects ready to open for students until 2029. But we project that we will need it the previous year. At some point in our history, we're going to need a second high school in Teravalis, but we're looking at probably 2031 at the earliest, if not longer. Yeah, so I just want to review that in 2025, August 2025, the board did vote to build a middle school, and that should say Tartesso. That is my mistake. Remodel and expand Ruth Fisher to create a second elementary school in Tonopah, and to build the second high school in Teravalis. Our estimated costs for a middle school, which do have inflation built into them, $54.5 million for a middle school, the Ruth Fisher expansion at $25.8 million, and at the last meeting, there was a request for what a separate Tonopah elementary school would cost, not on the Ruth Fisher campus, and that's approximately $35 million. So here are the different kind of bond scenarios we explored that the board would be able to authorize an election for. If we wanted to do just a middle school, that's $54.5 million. If we wanted to do a middle school plus some safety, transportation, and technology of varying amounts, the example I gave here is $66.5 million for $12 million. If we did just the middle school and Ruth Fisher expansion, would be 80. Middle school and Ruth Fisher expansion in safety and technology, 90, 92, depending on how much we wanted to spend. If we wanted to build a middle school in Tartesso and a separate elementary school in Tonopah with no additional projects, that's going to be $89.5 million. And if we wanted to do the middle school plus Ruth Fisher expansion plus safety, technology, and transportation with an amount of $8.680 million for safety, tech, and transportation, that would bring us to $89 million. And I'll share where that number came from in just a minute. This is the different bond scenario totals and the cost per month to the taxpayer. You'll see that at $89 million, that gets us to below $6, $5.99 a month. And as I get into the committee, that was a kind of a tipping point for the committee, was that trying to get it under $6 a month.
Can we go back?
Sure.
The difference in D and F, I'm trying to, or are you going to explain that?
I will explain that.
Okay.
Yep.
Go ahead then.
Yep.
But it's per 100,000, right?
Per 100,000.
The
So if
620.
but remember, it's per 100,000 of assessed valuation, not market value. So Brian's like 160 or 150 is kind of our average valuation. So if our number was $6 a month, so that you're probably looking at about $9 a month total, because it's going to be about 1.5 this number.
Okay.
I do believe people do get confused still between market and assessed value. So it would definitely be a lot different if it was market value. Let's stop there, Alicia. So Mr. Rotto, actually, can you keep going, Alicia? I think I might have keep going down. Sorry. Keep going. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I see what I did.
But also would you be able to explain, I know where we're at in the increase and that they're already paying the difference?
Yeah. I was kind of having a debate with myself. Sorry, that's how I wanted to proceed with but go ahead and go back up. I know what I did now. It wasn't making sense so this is bond, and I'm going to come back to that $89,599 is a crucial number. Okay, go ahead and go to the next slide. Yeah. And remember, now I'm switching completely to override, so completely different thing. We're not talking about bond anymore, we're not talking about capital, now we're talking about M&O override. Because we've already started to cut our override by a third, the average taxpayer is going to pay next year $30.15 a year as opposed to the $45 they've been paying for the last several years. 15% override would be $61 a year. So no matter what we decide, for next year, it is going to be an increase no matter what we do. And again, those are the things that override is used for. Okay, next slide. I did put together a committee. The goal was to have a staff member and a parent from every school with semi or community member. We had a staff member and community member from Tartesso and Ruth Fisher who participated, but from the other 3 schools, my community members were staff who are also community and parents. And they actually provided some really good insight into this process. We met on the 16th and 30th of April. We discussed both scenarios. We debated the 10 to 15% override, and we debated the amount of the bond. Next slide, Liz. And these are the recommendations that came out of that discussion from the committee, and that it would be my formal recommendation, is the 15% override. Because again, the override is beginning to sunset. No matter what we did, 10 or 15%, we cannot call it a continuation. We can't say their taxes are not going up, because they will go up no matter if we do a 10 or a 15. And not only did the committee, but also have had several meetings with campaign experts from around the country in the last couple of weeks. The consensus is voters are not deciding on 10 and 15%. They're just voting yes or no. The number is kind of irrelevant. So we landed on a 15% recommendation. And then an $89 million bond. The committee discussed several variables, including the history of opening and closing of schools in Saddle Mountain, the amount that could get passed, and the amount of cost per month. The committee ultimately recommends a bond amount that gets the cost per month under $6. This amount gets the monthly cost of $5.99. So that under 5 should be a 6. Go ahead, next slide. Okay. And these were the committee members. And the final recommendations are a 15% override and an $89 million bond.
So F is the 2 schools, and we'll just cut back on safety, technology, and transportation.
So $89 million will allow us to do the Tartesso Middle School, the expansion of Ruth Fisher to provide a Tonopah Elementary School, and still provide $8.6 million in safety and transportation, and I forgot what the third thing was. Okay. So really it allows us for the 2 big projects and a reduction in the other items.
Well, I'm going to go with the not popular selection, which that shouldn't surprise anybody. I don't see the difference between 21 cents and $5.99. And I think if we build a Tonopah elementary school, that is going to be something that Tonopah wants and will help us, because that's our hardest area to get them to vote for the bond. And I think if we give them something instead of just remodeling Ruth Fisher, and we've heard plenty about that, and maybe we can even move some of our services over to Winterswell or the new elementary school, some of that STC or whatever, so that it would help, because I don't think if we split up Winterswell, it's going to fill a middle or elementary school. So if we can move some services over there, it'll free up some of Ruth Fisher's capacity and also Winterswell. So that's mine. And then I think we can still throw in their safety and what was that? Safety and technology, yeah.
So if we, and I'm not arguing, I just want to point out the kind of the pros and cons of all of these.
Right.
So if you look at option E, it's a middle school in Tartesso and elementary school in Tonopah. That's $89.5 million without any other projects. One of the things the committee gave feedback to me was, we're really not remodeling Ruth Fisher, it's more of an expansion in a separate new school. And we did not probably do a very good, clear description of that last time. But I completely hear what you're saying. My concern with that plan all along has been, if we do that, Ruth Fisher is now gonna be half empty. Because we're building a middle school in Tortessa,
Right.
which is what's gonna happen
Right.
next year. And so we're going to the voters to say, give us this much money to build a new school, when we have half a school empty that has capacity for a new school. If we basically split Winters Well in half, you're gonna have approximately 350 to 400 students at Winters Well, and 350 to 400 students at what I would just call Ruth Fisher Elementary School for now, for illustrative purposes. If we continue to grow, we could redistrict a little bit the boundaries, because Winters Well would now have a space for another 200 additional students. And based on our projections, that gives us at least a decade worth of growth in Tonopah. I would love to build a whole brand new school. I just think there's definitely pros and cons to that model.
Well, whatever we need to do, you're right, we have to do a better job to show that Tonopah's getting something, because that was the problem, getting the vote in Tonopah, as they didn't understand, and so they thought they got nothing out of that bond, and either we need to do a better description or a better communication with them, showing what they're getting, because I think that was our problem last year, not getting the Tonopah vote, was because they felt they weren't getting anything out of it.
Well, I think too, the not saying that the $45 that they're currently paying would be subtracted out of the $61. So it would be a smaller increase, not another $61 added
You're
on
talking
top.
override too, Ms.
So, yeah, for the override,
But
but
I think there's some misconception there in terms of, it's not 45 plus 61, it's 45 plus 16 to get to 61. So definitely, I think we learned some misconceptions from folks that we can definitely target more effectively next time.
But also, what about like a true growth study to show that we actually have the bodies to justify building the schools?
Yeah, we don't have them today. We've done, in my 4 years, we've done 2 demographic studies. Between the last month board meeting and this month's board meeting, we didn't have a time to launch a full study. Was able to see the demographer on Friday, and I've kind of laid the groundwork for one for next year, but that's not going to help us today. Ms. King ran some, and I've got them there in the presentation, some modeling using some statistical analysis that allows us to kind of see, and it's within a couple hundred students of our demographic report. Ultimately, what we wrestle with here is, if we have a bond, we are able to sell the bonds, we get the money, it allows us to be proactive, and maybe we have 1 year of overcrowdedness of schools before we're able to build a new school, as opposed to waiting to do a bond to build a new school when we have 3 or 4 schools with kids falling out of the rafters, and then it's another 2 or 3 years additional, assuming the bond passes, to build a school. So either we have the opportunity to be proactive, and also if, let's say we stay at 3,300 students for the next 10 years, we don't have to sell the bonds either. We are not, we don't have to build it if the students don't come. And that would be incredibly irresponsible of us to build a school when we don't have the kids.
Because I think that's some of the concerns the community has with how Winters Well sat empty after they
The
paid for
committee
that.
absolutely brought that up. And that was one of their justifications for wanting to keep the Ruth Fisher expansion, for exactly that reason, Mrs. Emerald.
But also when I look at committee members, how many, like for stakeholders, like another opportunity, or missed opportunity to engage our stakeholders, like how many are the businesses that contribute? There's like APS or Wintersburg General Store, like all of them. Is there anybody from any business?
No.
Or we said that we are unable to get the target the elderly community. Are any of them on here?
No.
So we don't have, I guess, that's where you miss getting their input and them on board, is we're not engaging them or including them in their input.
And actually to add to that, no one gets mail correctly to their house out there. They all go to the post office, is that correct? No, okay. Well, apparently there's a large group that goes to their mailbox or whatever. And so one of the things we can do is sit out there on a Saturday and something and, meet and talk with people. But I don't know, I have to rethink my thoughts. Isn't Tonopah growing? I mean, I see new housing being built out there. We have the big plant out there. I don't know if they're looking at doing more hiring, but Tonopah is growing, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
They
We just don't know by how much.
Correct.
Or
No,
if they
if you
have
look at-
kids.
I'm sorry, if you look at the numbers on the weekly report, Winters Well is growing.
Winters Well, Ruth Fisher, and Tonopah Valley, actually Ruth Fisher and Winters Well about exactly where they were at this time last year. Tonopah Valley is a little bit bigger, but that's because the 8th grade class moving in was bigger than the senior class coming out. So while that is true, Ms. Martin, that we haven't seen like a huge influx of students yet. And same for Terra Dallas, while we do have students from Terra Dallas attending school already, we're not talking hundreds and hundreds of students yet. We actually anticipate next year staying pretty flat and don't anticipate seeing any kind of really rapid growth until the following school year.
I think that's why we needed the demographic study. We've had months to do it. And I charted the student enrollment from 21 to 2026 current based on the weekly reports that we get. And Ruth Fisher is flat pretty much at 750 kids since 2021. And Winters Well has increased quite a bit over the years. Tonopah Valley High School is somewhat flat. You see an increase at the beginning of the school year, and then it seems to taper off, and then it comes up again, and then it tapers off. But we built additional classrooms there, so there's a lot of capacity in the high school. If you look at Tartesso Elementary School, of course, when Desert Sunset opened up, it dropped off, and it's well below capacity. And then if you look at Desert Sunset, it's been pretty flat at 675 kids. And the beginning of last school year, it dropped off considerably and has not recovered. So I'm of the opinion right now, and for some other reasons also, that this is too early to vote for a bond, that we have not seen actual growth, and it's been predicted in the past, but it hasn't happened. I think that we should wait a year and bring the bond back, and at that time probably pass it, or ask for an election.
Well, my thought on middle school is it will, Tartesso will be very happy, just because they don't have to take that long bus ride. So I know they'd be ecstatic, and we've already heard comments from them that they can't believe it didn't pass, and that they're gonna work with us to get it passed this year. Because I don't know anybody in Tartesso, that doesn't want a middle school. So I think that's something that would help get our bond passed. I think we missed it by, 200 votes last year? I mean, that's nothing. We just need to work a little harder, and we need to get people in Tartesso to vote, because I know I talked to some of them that said, oh, it's on my counter, I forgot to turn it in. So we can't go by and pick them up and mail them for them, but, maybe we can send out continuous reminders or something. Did you get your vote in, or whatever? But I think for Tartesso, a lot of people pull their kids out of school and send them somewhere else when they have to go to Ruth Fisher, because it's very inconvenient. And And so I think doing that will help us keep students in our district.
And then that's what we're doing next year with the reconfiguration. What we don't know is how quickly Desert Sunset and Tartesso will run out of space. And that's all gonna be incumbent upon how quickly and how successful Teravalis is in selling homes and generating those kids. It could be 3 months, it could be 3 years, we just don't know.
But they should be able to offer us a build-out plan of how many homes they expect to build over the year.
And they've done that, they did that last year.
Can we see it?
They came and did presentations last year. We can do it again.
Yeah, this year. It should have been part of the forecast for this year.
But Ms. Marchette, one of the problems is they're gonna have a middle school this year. This coming year.
Oh, here?
No, Tartesso's gonna have a middle school.
Yeah, I know.
So then you're gonna ask them to come out and vote for a middle school after they got a middle school?
But they will vote for it because it means that there is one coming and they'll keep their kids in elementary school or whatever instead of moving them, knowing that eventually they're going to move to Ruth Fisher. I mean, there's a lot of parents that do not want to take their kids
I
in
understand
the bus
that.
ride.
And it's the wrong way.
And we've addressed that, and obviously I'm happy to do whatever the board wishes. My perspective and my concern is that this offers us an opportunity to be proactive and be ready, that if what's been projected for several years comes true, we're able to move quickly. So we're kind of measuring the risk, right? Is it more risky to go out for a bond election, have the funds available to build a new school if the kids, and when the kids show up? Or is there more risk in not doing it and the kids show up and we're just bursting at the seams and there's no place for kids to go? We're essentially, we have an opportunity to be proactive versus potentially reactive, and we really don't know. It's all based on forecasting on what's going to happen. If I knew, I could give a lot more definitive answer. I'm looking at it from more of a proactive versus reactive opportunity.
So my question is, how many students do we have next year, 8th graders, that are going to be coming to Tartesso to be split between the schools, or the
Off
one
the top of my
school?
head, roughly 125. Off the top of my head, Tartesso is going to be 525-ish students. So that they have about a room for about maybe 150 additional kids. Desert Sunset is going to be pretty tight.
Yeah.
With not a lot of room for growth. So essentially, we've taken Ruth Fisher and Winners Well, which already have people on stages and libraries and overcrowded, to moving our overcrowd from having 2 overcrowded schools to 1. And we'll see. We're going to see how long we can maintain that without causing massive overcrowding in our schools.
So to relieve the overcrowding at Winters Well, I mean, we're going to move into Ruth Fisher, we're going to do a remodel, whatever, that will accept some of our elementary students?
We don't have the funding to do anything. Remember, the plan for next year is the elementary schools, Desert Sunset and Winners Well, will become K-4, and the Tartesso and Ruth Fisher will become 5-8. So the only real 2 differences at Ruth Fisher is basically their school's getting cut in half, because half the kids are going to go to Tartesso, and we're taking the 5th graders from Winners Well and moving them into Ruth Fisher. And then instead of the 5th graders leaving Tartesso and Desert Sunset and coming to Ruth Fisher, they're all going to go to Tartesso.
So for option B for the bond,
I'm sorry, which one, Ms. Zimmer?
B,
Okay.
is that for the middle school in Tartesso? Would that be what would be our need? Like the one
sorry,
that we
what was
need the most, middle school in Tartesso to alleviate, that would give you 2 elementary schools, right?
So yes, that would be the most pressing need, because with the new subdivision coming on, what we believe is going to happen is that within probably 2 to 3 years, Desert Sunset and Tartesso will be completely maxed out. We have if in 2029, we have a middle school there ready to go, we then take those middle schoolers from Tartesso, move them into the new middle school, and then Desert Sunset and Tartesso go back to being elementary schools, and now we have the capacity. But without another middle school option, our options are either to have 2 overcrowded schools in Tartesso, or reconfigure back to where all the kids are coming back out to Ruth Fisher and kind of going back to where we were. So that would be the alternative option if that kind of fell through. But if I'm ordering them, the middle school
Is the
is the
current
top priority. A very close second would be the elementary's kind of creation at Ruth Fisher, and then those other projects are important too. So they're kind of read in the middle there.
To move on to discussion, I will make a motion. You can always vote it down. I make a motion, we follow let's go for bond first, for F. What the committee recommended was middle school Ruth Fisher expansion, safety, technology, and transportation.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Discussion again.
Or, okay, any more discussion? I wouldn't support F.
Just for clarification, we're voting for F, right?
F.
Okay. Aye.
Fine. Or Francis.
Is there a discussion, Sue?
Yes.
Yes.
So I think we should also be concerned that if we call for a bond now and it passes, and we don't need the school, and you delay construction, then you're going to end up with increased costs of construction and not enough money to build it with the bond. So I think we need to be very careful of that.
And that we
And-
ask
and-
for what we need, not what we
Yeah,
want.
the numbers we are built out for inflation up until 2028. So there's a 1-year buffer there that it could be greater than what we anticipate.
So what's the difference between D and F?
Less amount of money for safety, technology, and transportation. So in D, there's either $10 or $12 million for additional projects. And there's a spreadsheet in the, would you mind bringing that one up, Alicia, please? No, if you go back into the agenda, site-specific bond projects. This one is based upon the committee recommendation of safety, transportation, improvements and renovations at Tonopah Valley, Tartesso, in our wastewater system. That came to the 8.68. If we went with that option, any technology upgrades in the bond had to be eliminated. If we had $10 or $12 million, we could add those back in, and that was the scenario that we used last year. But to get to the $89 million number, the technology upgrades are what was eliminated to get the number under $6 a month.
But in D, doesn't it say middle school, Ruth Fisher expansion, safety, technology, and transportation? I mean, if you look at, see, middle school Ruth Fisher expansion with elementary, it's 80,000. So if you added the 8,680, wouldn't that still be 89,000? The goal we're trying to reach?
Million?
Yeah.
So if you take,
I wish it was 89,000.
let's make sure my math is correct here. So if you take C which is middle school and Ruth Fisher expansion at 80.320 million, and you add 8.680 for that spreadsheet, that should equal $89 million.
E, I'm
Right.
sorry, E is a standalone elementary school.
But isn't that, if you look at F, it's 89,000 for middle school, Ruth Fisher expansion and safety technology?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so what's the difference? I mean, because if you're taking 80 and adding 8,000, that would be right at the 89, which is the same as F and C, if you add in the,
Yes,
okay,
yes. C is the number for just the middle school and Ruth Fisher expansion. None of those other projects that were on the spreadsheet. Buses, wastewater enhancement, whatever, those other items.
okay. And so on F, it's saying 89 with adding in the 8,000.
8 million,
Okay, 8 million.
8.6
Yeah.
million.
It's wishful thinking.
You can do my checking account.
So, for me, I would like to ask for what we need, which would be A or B. I don't want to ask for too much, and especially if we don't need it. And we don't have the demographic report or the bodies to justify it.
Do we have to do an extension to Ruth Fisher to be able to move some of Winter's Well over there?
Winters Well is already, we're moving 5th grade from Winters Well over there.
Okay, so do we need to do it, if they're already over there, do we need to do an expansion? Ruth Fisher, you say it's pretty flat, because we're moving kids over to Tartesso, and that would relieve the student population at Winters Well.
So what you could do is, if Winters Well continues, starts to grow out again, you could take 4th grade from Winters Well and move it over to Ruth Fisher. So we have some flexibility there. There's other, because we have that, we'll have extra space at Ruth Fisher, there's some flexibility of things we can do.
Okay,
Could also go back and make them K-8.
I'm sorry,
You could make both campuses K-8
yeah.
and balance.
More discussion, are you guys ready
So-
to make a motion?
I have a question. Why
have a
is
motion.
Ruth Fisher expansion, like, what is that? 20, why is there such a big difference in the cost just because of Ruth Fisher expansion? Or remodel or whatever it is, Ruth Fisher
Alicia, could you
expansion.
maybe scroll back up a little bit for me?
There.
So I think, correct me, Ms. Marcel, if I'm wrong. So the middle school, a standalone middle school in Tartesso is gonna cost $54.5 million. Because Ruth Fisher, we have land, we have infrastructure, there's classroom space already. To create an elementary and a middle school there is gonna be a lot cheaper than to build a separate elementary school. We're talking $10 to $15 million cheaper than a standalone elementary school. Does that answer the
Yeah, thank you.
question?
We have a motion on the floor.
Second?
Yes. Ms. Marchette, second.
Okay. All in favor of the bond election at scenario F, right? Is that what it's on?
Yes.
Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Say nay.
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 I didn't vote.
Well, it doesn't matter.
I know, it passes anyway. Well, but you can
That's
still
one
vote.
way. You can say you didn't vote for either.
Well, you can't do that.
So,
Can't
I-
abstain. So Paul, you guys said yay.
no,
So it'll either be a 2-2, or, which means it does not
Either
carry.
one. And either way, it doesn't carry.
Yes.
so, aye, nay, nay.
So it fails. Okay.
Motion, yeah, fails.
Then the option would be to propose another, if there's another motion the board would like to make for a bond at a different number.
I would, my motion would be for item B,
For what?
scenario B.
Worded as a motion. The
Oh.
president can motion.
I make a motion that the board approve, hold on, let me go back to it.
Didn't the other one?
Recommend approve the election resolution,
2-2 fail.
scenario B for middle school and safety,
I'll second.
technology and whatever. Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Can we have discussion first on this one?
Okay.
So if we don't do the expansion at Ruth Fisher, we can still accommodate the overflow at Winterswell.
Yes.
Did somebody second that? No.
Yes, I second.
Okay.
Are we ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Wait, I'm thinking.
Nay.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, so 3 ayes for scenario B. And 1 nay, motion passes. Okay, moving on to, oh wait,
Yeah.
we have to do the override, right?
Correct.
I make a motion, we go for the 15% override.
I second. I second it.
Okay, any other discussion?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that, does there need to be specific wording? I seem to recall from the past that we've had to have a very specific motion for the override.
Oh, I see.
I
not-
think
You're talking about the override or?
is to call for the amount of 15 or 10% override is the motion.
No, we actually read from a letter.
Oh,
I think there was a letter in here.
Is that one of the letters that's attached, Alicia? Can you go to the?
Or you check with the attorney. I just want to make sure we're, do it right.
Absolutely. These are the documents that we have to sign. Is there language in there, one of those ones that says?
And thank you guys for your patience. Let's see.
Maybe the agenda item is
Possibly. I'm gonna try to get a hold, yeah, I'm gonna try to verify with Jim if I can, thank you, Brian.
order and call.
How about, I'm sorry. You have it?
For the override one. Let's see. I have too many things open.
Can we go ahead, table this till the end of the meeting and do the other 4? I don't know how you get there, Dan.
And what you're doing is trying to present wording.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you can give me about 30 seconds, I'm trying to verify, and if not, then we could,
okay.
yeah.
She may have found it.
first one, Alicia, there wasn't anything, it's just the,
Yeah, just the
to be
bond.
signed? Yeah.
It doesn't say the amount, just wants the,
Right, and that was on purpose.
Yeah.
this is the order of calling.
Yeah, and these are the documents you would sign afterwards, but it's not necessarily pertaining to the motion in the vote in the,
I mean, this one says 15%, we have one for.
yeah, we had multiple
Yeah.
numbers, just whatever the board decided.
Okay.
Like, if you feel more comfortable in waiting for me to get a response, we can do that. But we don't have anything in our documentation that provides what that specific motion is.
Well, I think I'd be more comfortable if we had word, because each one of them are separate, right? One's a bond and one's an override.
That is correct.
So I think the wording should be separate, that we vote on.
And we've done that already.
Yeah. But
So do we table it for a second?
Yes, I was off one number in my texting, so
Okay,
I'd been waiting all night for the response.
so,
We'll just return at the end to the second.
Yeah.
okay, so let's move on to action item number 3, Transportation Director.
No, we have to vote
Budget.
on number 2.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
but we can't vote yet because we're waiting for the wording.
No, we can move on.
Oh, okay.
We can vote on the budget, or we can move to action item number 2.
Oh, sorry, I skipped that one. No, action item number 2, budget revision, Dr. Winters.
Bear with me just a second. Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. As you remember, a little bit earlier, Ms. King presented the budget revision. This is a legal requirement that the board accept the revision. Because it's a significant increase, I would strongly recommend the board approves the revision to the budget.
Any other questions or comments?
I make a motion, we approve the budget revision number 2.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, moving on to action item number 3, Transportation Director, Dr. Winters.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Finally, Victor says, going to recommend to the board approve Victor Barelas as the new Transportation Director, starting July 1st. Victor has been working in transportation in the Valley since 2019. He is a mechanic, a bus driver, a bus driving trainer, and is currently the transportation supervisor, which is essentially the director of transportation in the Tolleson Elementary School District. And we are excited to make this recommendation this evening. And Victor is here, right there, by the way.
Any discussion or comments? You ready to vote? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
We don't have a motion.
Oh, sorry, do we have a motion?
I make a motion, we approve hiring Victor Bellarez as the new Transportation Director.
second.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion passes.
Welcome aboard. Welcome. Do you have your 10-minute speech planned? You could just say hello. You don't have to.
I just want to say thank you, and I look forward to coming and excelling your vision and getting our kids safely to school and safely back home. And of course, the sports, especially football. I'm excited about that. I love football, so I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Victor, and thank you, Victor's better halves to.
My wife is President Marcella. My daughter Adriana, she currently goes to Yonkers. It's her freshman year, so she's almost got through her freshman year. So she just performed in dance, and she did very well, and we're so excited. So thank you.
Thank you, Victor.
Well,
Madam President, I do have verification from our attorney that it is just a motion for a 15% M&O
So do we want to go back?
election, M&O override election.
Thank you.
Okay. Going back to action item number 1,
Yes.
do we have,
I had a motion from Mr. Ruetto and a second from Ms. Marset.
For a 15%.
okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion passes.
Thank you, Brian.
Moving on to action item number 4, Assistant Principal at TVHS, Dr. Winters.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. And before I get to the recommendation, I just want to remind the board that all of our hiring practices, but I think especially our administrative hiring practices, are extremely rigorous. They're at least 3 steps long. There's a written assessment. There's multiple committee interviews. So we make these recommendations. They are strongly vetted candidates, and many of the candidates after they, whether they get hired by us or not, usually comment that that's the most difficult and challenging interview process I've ever had to go through, in a good way, though. With that, I'd like to recommend to the board, and I believe Samantha is online watching, so Samantha, hopefully you're still there. Ms. Samantha Smith as the new assistant principal at Tonopah Valley High School. She currently lives in Indiana, but she is in the process of relocating. Samantha has been a high school assistant principal since 2021. She's also been a science and math teacher and a high school instructional coach. And again, a highly rigorous process to identify our candidate here, Ms. Samantha Smith as Tonopah Valley assistant principal.
Do we have a motion?
I recommend the board approve Samantha Smith as the new assistant, I recommend, and the board recommends to approve Samantha Smith as the new assistant principal at Tonopah Valley High School.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion passes.
Congratulations, Samantha. Hopefully you are still watching from, I know it's maybe 8:15 there, but, or I'm sorry, 11:15, but hopefully you were on for that.
Okay, moving on to action item number 4, the registrar at TES, so Tartessa Elementary, Dr. Winters.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. As we're reconfiguring the district, we focused really primarily on teacher reconfiguration and impact that was having. Once we had that all figured out, we communicated with all staff where their assignment would be for next year. Then we analyzed the classified staffing, and we did discover a hole that we would not have a registrar at Tartesso. Per our staffing standards and the size in the middle school at Tartesso, we are recommending an additional position at Tartesso for registrar, and made even nicer by the carry forward we have moving into next year. So we do have the available funding to add this position. You might remember a couple of years ago, due to poor attendance record keeping, we lost several $100,000. And when I say we can literally not afford to have bad attendance record keeping, I mean that literally. So our recommendation for next school year, not this year, but for next school year, to add a registrar position at Tartesso, it'll be technically Tartesso Middle School for next year.
And this position will be eliminated the following year, right?
That is
Online.
possible. I guess that cat's out of the bag. Our plan, our long-term plan is to move to online registration, which is something most districts around the valley do. So this puts the bulk of the work for registration is now on parents. They have to enter the information. This eliminates a ton of work, time, and paperwork for our registrars that would allow us to basically have centralized registration moving forward and reduce the number of registrars moving forward 2 years from now. So it's a little bit of upfront cost to move to a more cost-efficient plan in the future. But we need to get through, and we'll actually start rolling out that, we're actually starting that process, right? So by January of 2027, we're really starting to implement that process, so that by the beginning of the next school year, we're ready to hit the ground running.
But there's also an additional fee for that. It's not like we're just getting rid of that.
Yeah, it won't be nearly as much as well, essentially, we're gonna save 3 staff members, and that savings will be significantly higher than the cost of the online
I
registration.
agree.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion we approve a new registrar at our middle school.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Moving on to action item number 6, CTE seasonal intern job description and positions. Dr. Winters.
Excuse me. Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. As you remember, we bring any new job descriptions to the board for approval. In the past, our seasonal student intern work has been done in the technology department. We will continue that this year. With our CTE summer camp and through funding through SMUSD, Marcy, we are able to add some student interns to the CTE program, so that when our middle school students are coming in for summer camp, they have the teacher there, but there are also students from the CTE programs that get some work experience in their program. So this is the job description and the positions. So really proving 2 things: the description and the additional positions that are being paid from the CTE grant for CTE summer school camp. Sorry, summer camp, not school.
Any discussion?
Yes. How many intern positions are we talking about?
Marcy, do it.
11?
It's right there, 11.
We need 11?
It was determined by my teacher, so we have 2, 0 for carpentry, 3 for medical assisting, 2 for public safety, and 3 for soccer, based on their experience last year with the CT summer camp and the one-on-one, especially like soccer.
Okay. And that's just during the summer? It's a summer?
This is an opportunity where our middle schoolers are able to go and get hands-on experience with CTE. Do we go to is it 6th grade, as low as 6th grade?
As well as 5th grade, incoming middle schoolers.
Oh, great.
Next.
Good.
And where's the grant come from?
West Mech.
West Mech, okay.
Recommend the board approve a new CTE seasonal intern job description and positions.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Moving on to action item number 7, board meeting date change. Dr. Winters.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I'm gonna, and it's listed there, right? I'm gonna go over the easy one first in November. November 11th is the second Wednesday of November, which is when our regularly scheduled board meeting would fall. However, the district is closed on the 11th for Veterans Day. So really, we saw 2 different, dates for to move the November board meeting. The 12th would be would just be the day after, would be the Thursday, or the 18th if the board wanted to keep it on Wednesday. I think we have a slight preference for the 12th because it keeps us on schedule. Like with the next discussion, if we go to the 18th, it just shortens our window in between the next board meeting, and in that time of year, it gets pretty hectic. So we'll do either. I would say a slight preference for the 12th, but then it also, can we hold a form of meeting on the 12th? That might dictate part of but nobody's gonna be here, and we're federally closed on the 11th, so we can't have the meeting on the 11th.
We can too.
So this is,
Okay.
go ahead.
Do you want to vote on these on 2, or you want to talk about 24th too? June.
Yeah, I could talk about that one too. I know Mrs. Amaral and Mr. Blackson have some conflicts in June. So I know the June 24th date is being recommended. The challenge with that for staff is going to be, our next board meeting is only in 2 weeks, and one of those weeks is where almost everybody in the office is on vacation, including myself. We will make it work if we have to. It will just be challenging, and not that that concerns anybody, but
Well, knowing their schedule, is there a better date?
that's what I was opening for that. Is there something
Didn't
in June that
I thought
works?
we said before, when you had written it down, I think it was
I think
June
you said the
3rd
17th.
or the 24th. Wasn't it like the 3rd or the 24th that you were in town?
Well, I'll be back before the 24th. That just is the next Wednesday. I'm available June 9th. I think. Wednesday.
The 10th is the Wednesday, the 9th is the Tuesday.
Yeah, so I'm available on the 9th.
I could do the 9th as well, if that works.
Um,
I'm leaving
I will,
10th.
I will make it work. I have a conference Sunday, Monday, Tuesday in Tucson. It is over at noon. I can be back by
6.
6.
Well, maybe first we can make sure the other board members are going to be here.
I'm available
Call
anytime.
in to make a quorum.
I'm available all month,
You available when?
all month.
All month?
I have nothing that,
Me too, except for that thing I'm doing the presentation on, but that's on a weekend.
Okay, so the 9th works, or if you want to look at Wednesday, June 3rd, are we all here?
I'll make the 9th work. I can just leave a little bit early. It's okay.
I don't think we should have you make it work. I think we should work around, because we're working around everybody else's schedule, so why shouldn't we work around what you've already got scheduled?
Would June 3rd work?
Yeah, someone else will just have to conduct a meeting.
thank
Well, we
you.
got the press, oh, she's not gonna be here, you're not gonna be here.
Right, but we can call in to make sure there's a quorum.
Yeah, well, we don't have a quorum, that's true. But I mean, can't
Now, Ms. De La Cruz is planning on attending the 10th meeting.
we? Okay.
Okay,
That helps out a little bit.
Okay.
so then we can keep June and we can call in.
Keep it on the 10th, but call in.
But then we need president and clerk won't be here, so who will run it?
So there needs to be an action item on the agenda to select someone to run the meeting.
And I'll volunteer to do it. So the first thing, I call the meeting to order and say we need to vote who wants to run the meeting,
Okay,
unless you want to.
Unless Star wants to. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to do it.
okay,
That's fine with me, okay.
fine with me.
There's only budget, right? Anything major in June?
I looked, the new budget
Proposed
Correct.
budget.
for,
The later we go in June, the better we have, better chance we'll have numbers, but the Auditor General has stated that, they, as of last week, they, told all school, school finance officials that they don't plan to release any preliminary drafts until the end of May. And that's assuming that the legislature's not gonna come up with anything before the end of May. The preliminary drafts will be based on this year's numbers, and whatever is proposed then has to be adopted in July, meaning that we'll be using this year's numbers, not next year's numbers, which has been the issue.
and
My muddy ball says the legislature won't have anything until
that's what I was, I don't think the legislative
June.
session's gonna end before our next ways. I think they're gonna go late into the night on June 30th, and if they have something by then, I will be pleasantly, this is not looking good right now from a state budget perspective.
Well, maybe we can not have any action items, so we don't have to vote on anything.
Because it's the,
Have to
we'll
vote
vote
on
on that budget
proposed
until
budget.
July. Could we propose it in June and vote on it in July, correct?
The proposed has to be approved by the board so that I can bring the adopted with a full public hearing in July.
In July, yeah.
Now, both can be done in July. The one would have to be done no later than the 3rd or 4th, 3rd because of July 4th, so that we could still make a 10-day hearing and still hit the July 15th cutoff date.
So that would mean we'd have to have and a lot of us are on vacation, so I don't think that's gonna work either.
We'll have a quorum in all minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
And I
okay.
don't expect the budget to be terribly contentious, so.
And we both will call in, we said, so.
Do we need to decide on November to take them?
I move that the board change the meeting date in November to November 12th.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion passes.
And we're gonna go ahead and keep the original June date, correct? Okay.
Yes.
Job description revisions is action that carried from the consent agenda, Amy.
Okay. Moving back to the consent agenda, item number 13, job description revisions. Dr. Winters?
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Ms. Spielman, are you able to hear?
And this is an easy question.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I have my speakers down. You can hear?
I can hear you, can you hear me?
Yes. So can everybody else, just for the record?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, go ahead, Ms. Marset, sorry.
It's an easy question. We have, well, it is.
Nothing is ever easy.
We have these changes to the job description, but I don't know, unless I go out there, I don't know what the job description was before, so it'd be nice if we could just add to that and say, these are the things that have changed in this job description and makes it easier for us.
Sure. Ms. Spielman, are those job descriptions time sensitive, or is it something we could do side-by-side versions or edit copies and bring them back at the June meeting?
Yeah, I can, so Deanna was the one who made the edits. Really, the only big change is we're just basically matching the job descriptions to practice. So currently, our behavior techs are in our PBS classrooms and our ASD classrooms. They are all required to be highly qualified. However, ASD doesn't really do, they're more life skills and less academics. So we just kind of split the behavior tech into two separate job descriptions so that the ASD behavior techs are not going to be required to take that parapro assessment, whereas the PBS behavior techs will still need to take the parapro assessment. So that's really the big difference on those two.
Well, that
We already
explains
have
it.
behavior techs, we just split it into two separate job descriptions.
Okay. Thank you.
And then the one-on-one, same thing, it's really, those are one-off, that's like a one-off thing. I think we have maybe one or two in the district. And it's really, again, it's more medical than it is academic stuff. So it's just, again, matching the description to what they're actually doing in the classrooms and the programs.
So how should this motion read?
Do you still want a revised copy, Ms. Marset, or are you okay?
No, I'm okay with the explanation.
Okay,
So
so
are you
do we
okay
have
voting on
a
that?
motion?
Yeah.
Do you have a motion?
Do we have a motion?
No, I'm questioning how to word it, because I guess I make it,
What it says in the recommended
yeah.
action. Recommend the board approve the job description revisions as proposed.
but what's proposed? Yeah, I know that.
Those are
That's
the three
just that's a bad motion. I make a motion, we revise the job descriptions for the BPS behavior tech job and the ASD behavior tech position,
Second.
And there's one more.
and assistant health aide
STC.
position. Okay, that's what I was having trouble with, all three of them. Okay,
And we had a second.
Second.
okay.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All those, aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Okay. Breathe. Next, future meetings and events. Dr. Winters.
Okay, well, now that we have, our next board meeting is going to be on June 10th at 6 o'clock. And boy, that clock is way off now. It must have
Yeah.
died.
Yep.
I was thinking we were about to adjourn, but then I forgot we do have executive session. So however you wish to transition to that. This is-
Do we want to do board comments first?
Well, I was just saying future meetings and events. I was going to say when I come back from the event that I'm going to be doing a presentation on rural school, rural alliance, that it would be nice if I have a few minutes just to kind of review what I went over, because there's some pretty interesting things. Cause about solutions, recommendations, some of the challenges. It's going to be pretty interesting.
And you're doing that in June, Ms. Marissette? So we can put that as a
It'll be before the board.
item in July's meeting?
Yeah, that's
want-
fine. That's fine.
Any other board comments? Okay, the board will now,
I make a motion, we go into
okay,
executive.
no, we don't make a motion.
We do.
Yeah, I want to say,
We need a recess too to the restroom.
can we say board comments?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I want to tell our new transportation director that you said the right words, getting our kids safely to and from school. That's all I wanted to hear. But welcome aboard, and I don't know if our assistant principal is still on board, but welcome her too, and your family. We're excited to have you here.
Okay.
I make a motion, we go into executive session in accordance with ARS 3841-303A1 for personnel decisions.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Can we take like a 5-minute break, please? Okay, thank you.
That's your choice.
I think mine's red, mine's green now.
We're back, okay. Yep. Okay, so going to action item number 1, superintendent performance. Do we have a motion? Do we have a motion for action item number 1, superintendent performance? Anyone? Going once?
I don't have the verbiage up there, so.
Recommend we,
On your screen, Ms. Martha.
the board review the superintendent has met. No, that's not right either.
You want me to recommend the board determine, oh, yeah.
That looks correct to me, Mr. Rowe, with the verbiage there. The recommended action.
But you don't have data yet on some of it.
Correct. We would,
So it wouldn't be met, it's,
the goals were met, but we are still waiting for data on the stretch goals. If you want to put that caveat.
Dan?
Would we want to do that separately then, since it's, part of it's on hold, and just say that? What was I gonna say?
You could be the recommended of the goals,
Yeah, oh,
and then,
don't we want,
I know that the board accept that the goals for the superintendent have been achieved and appropriately paid out, and that the stretch goals are pending, waiting for confirmation of data and should be paid appropriately.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
aye,
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion passes.
I recommend the board approve the superintendent's contract and goals for 26-27 school year.
I'll second, and that's a 3-year contract.
Okay. I'll amend it to 3-year contract and goals for 26-27 school year.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Moving on to action item number 2. Dr. Winter, or,
Motion we
no.
release MU 51751 from their 25-27 contract.
Do we have a second?
Second,
All those in favor, say aye.
aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
I move the board release MA 37640 from their 26-27 contract.
Do we have a second?
Second,
All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Action item number 4.
I make a motion we release the TA 10487 from their 26-27 contract.
Second,
All those in favor, say aye.
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 I make a motion we adjourn.
Motion passes. Oh, no, I was still on 4. Oh, sorry, he was ahead. Now, we have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second,
All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Aye. Good night.
This now, I'll use the autograph things, and while you're doing that, I'm gonna go get a business card for you.
Okay. No, I don't know. I have.
I leave this at the record.